I'm just going to get all up in here, you guys. I'm sorry.
He said that to me in the car, and he meant it.
It happened twice.
Welcome to part 2, episode 20 of Car to Table. I'm your host, David Rodriguez. This is Matt Pace, the culinary director at the Great Dane. And we're here in Sun Prairie to cook for Chad and Sarah. I'm gonna ring the doorbell and see if we can't get in there and get started. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hey there.
I'm David.
I'm Sarah.
Nice to meet you,
I'm
sir.
Chad.
Nice to meet you.
Come on in.
Guys, I'm Matt.
Hey,
Come
I'm
on in.
Sarah.
Chad, Sarah, thank you for welcoming us into your home, your beautiful dream kitchen, and we can't wait to cook a really nice holiday meal. We're going to do a theme today. It's kind of like a Friendsgiving or a holiday gathering with friends. Before we do that, I do have a couple of gifts from you. This is from the Square Wine Company, and this is from Metcalf's.
All of our brewers from our locations handpicked one of their specialty beers, a couple t-shirts, couple hats, maybe at least a dozen free beer tokens. Hoping to see you guys over at the Great Dane.
Nice.
Super happy to be here. Can I take a look at what you got?
Please do.
Yeah, awesome. Butternut squash, great fall ingredient, really versatile. Pork chops, boneless pork chops from Fox Heritage Farm. Oh, you have some bread cheese. And I'm thinking this with some really crisp, fresh apples might make a really good combination. I'm thinking that looks like maybe a little grill or a flat top type skillet under there. That'll be perfect for working with this. And what else? We've got some fresh rosemary, which will probably go with basically everything that we have here.
We do also have some wine. So we'll get these out, and you can figure out if you have a specific way you want to pair these. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and we'll drink them.
2 courses. One will be family style. I'm thinking we can find a larger plate platter sort of a thing. Get some small plates, and that's like a serve yourself sort of a thing. Other one, use the pork chops for, and that'll be plated individually.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna make myself at home because
Go for it.
I'm not in my home, and I don't have to clean up. Definitely, I was hoping I'd find some nuts. Almonds are absolutely one of my favorites. All right, what did you find for spices? You got honey, thank you. Cumin works. Yellow curry is perfect. Salt and pepper. I want to do a roasted squash. We'll dress with some lemon, curry powder. We'll serve them with this really yummy bread cheese, one of my favorite ingredients that will just sort of cut in smaller pieces, get nice and brown on that awesome flat top skillet you have on your stove. So I'm thinking, I don't know, are you helping or how does this work?
You
do
tell
I have
me.
an assistant?
You do if you want.
Awesome. So first thing I want to do whenever I work with pork and chicken especially, I always like to get it in a brine. So brine, similar to a marinade, basically it's a water solution, salt and sugar, and then you can add whatever flavorings you want. I'm going to definitely take advantage of this rosemary, use some lemon. While I'm doing that, David, I'd love if you want to cut up some squash for me. Usually when I make a brine, I'm going to do 2 parts salt to 1 part brown sugar. Really, what you want it to taste like is similar to pasta water, like the ocean. And then, it's a flexible recipe, so if you know that you only have an hour, you can make it a little more seasoned. If you know you have a couple days, which is ideal, but sometimes we don't have the time for that, you can make it a little less salty. And then actually, I'm thinking for the puree, I can work on that. I think I'll do those all in a saute pan. Probably saute them with some butter, and then add some white wine and water to cover them. And we'll blend them up when we're done. So almonds are toasting. So making brown butter is sort of a labor of love thing. It doesn't take too long, 10, 15 minutes or so, but you do need to watch it. David, I'm thinking maybe just a real quick dressing, lemon juice, olive oil.
Okay.
Maybe a little honey, salt, and pepper.
All right.
That'll go with our squash. That'd be awesome. Or what do you think? Maybe some of the cooking liquid from those squash would be
Let's
good.
do that.
Yeah,
That
would
sounds
be
better
good
to
in
me,
there.
yeah.
Cool. So these are sauteing. I'll put some of this
Oh, yeah.
wine in here. And this is just kind of enough to any brown bits that were attached to the pan. I'll let that come back to a boil. Then I'll cover them with water. So we've got our curry roasted squash, our seared bread cheese. These are some Honeycrisp apples dressed in lemon, which is absolutely the right choice to use. This is our brown butter, which, it's a pretty intense flavor. You don't want to use too much. Curry roasted butternut squash salad with some fresh Honeycrisp apples, dressed with toasted brown butter sauce, toasted almonds. We roasted the squash seeds from the butternut squash, and then also on the plate is some of this bread cheese from Car Valley. And you'll get a nice crunch for garnish as well from the little, not burnt, but kind of crispy cheese ends.
Cheers.
Yum.
Well, squash is great.
I'm gonna do something with apples again. My first thought was to keep them raw and do like a chutney slaw type thing. But now I'm thinking maybe we've got sweet potato puree. We'll do pan-seared pork chops. Either roast them, or we could either do them in a pan too, butter and honey.
That sounds good.
Yeah, kind of almost braise them. So these squash are cooked all the way through. They're not falling apart mushy, but they're soft enough where when we put them in the blender, they'll puree up nice. For making a puree, I usually don't fill it up more than halfway. We're only serving a couple people today, so that'll be more than enough. But I'll get as much, solids as I can, in this case, squash. And then I'll start by slowly adding our cooking liquid. So once it kind of gets going, I'll slowly raise the speed. And you can see it'll get super, super creamy. So we'll do some apples. David, right before those go in the oven, we'll put some of this Jim Beam whiskey in with those pork chops. Again, going back to our theme of thinking about friends and entertaining for large parties, if you really need to, this is something you could break up into steps. It could be seared and all this done ahead of time. Your guests come over and it's just quickly popping it in the oven to finish it, right? And I think we'll take some of these really delicious roasted apples, and there's some really good juice down here that I want to use. Yeah, these look awesome. So, as I'm cutting it, I can smell the clove, smell the cinnamon, right? So, also things I like. Yep, you read my mind, David. We've got cooked apples. We're going to do some really nice crunchy apples. Again, like I was saying, using the same ingredient in different ways, different flavors and textures from the same thing. A real quick brine on a pork chop: brown sugar, lemon, rosemary, some pumpkin pie spices, clove, and cinnamon. Served with a roasted butternut squash puree, some Jim Beam sauteed caramelized apples, topped with a fresh Honeycrisp apple slaw.
So you're gonna come over and cook for me every night?
This is a perfect pairing too. It just happens to be.
Yeah. The pumpkin pie spices with the spiciness, this absolutely.
Yeah, that pork is great.
It's really good.
Chad, Sarah, thank you so much for letting us join you in your dream kitchen.
Thanks.
Matt, thanks for an amazing meal.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Until we meet again.
Very good, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice work, Matt.
Thank you, sir.
Good food. We had a great Friendsgiving. I had fun.
Absolutely.
I want to thank Minnie of Madison. I want to thank Metcalf's. I want to thank the Square Wine Company and Dream Kitchens. I also want to thank you for watching. And if you're interested in hosting and having us come cook at your place, go to isthmus.com/Carter-Table, and we'll see you in the next one.